Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another Content Corner. This week, Tuesday, is Compliance Corner. And today what we want to focus talking about really is a more compliance area that we don't always talk about, but is absolutely crucial when you're learning or beginning to expand, or one you've already expanded because of some of the changes that are going to happen. Now, for some of you, this may be new. For some of you, it may be something that you already know. But for pretty much every product that's sold in the EU, it needs an EU-based address on the product. Now, the reason for that is that so that someone is responsible for the product in the jurisdiction in which you're selling it. Now, there's a whole load of different products, there's a whole load of different regulations, and I'm not going to go into every single one of those today because we would be here for hours. But really, the key thing to think about is the product safety and compliance of your product, and making sure that your product, your safety and your compliance is all up to date on your product. Now, I'm just going to read off a list that I've just written down because there's so many that I can't remember all of them. But the key ones are your electronics, toys, health supplements, food supplements, it's cosmetics, medicinal products. And medicinal falls into two routes. It's a medicinal device or a medicinal supplement or cream or something like that. And then footwear of all things as well. There are some textiles that are covered by different regulations as well. So you need to consider all of those things. So when you're looking to expand, or when you've already expanded, Amazon and other marketplaces are getting much hotter on this. You know, before you expand now, they want to see this. There's a new regulation coming out on the July the 16th next year, 2021. And that is specifically for the market surveillance regulations. And what they're saying is that any CE marked product that is sold in the EU must have an address on it. Like must. There's no like if, buts, maybes or anything else. Now, the key thing to consider is that for a lot of products, a lot of regulations, you should already have an EU-based address on your product. Now, there are some differences between the EU at the moment with Brexit coming up and everything else. You know, do you need a UK address? Do you need an EU address and everything else? Well, we've got you covered in both places because we've got a UK and a Germany address. But that's going to get complicated putting different addresses on products. You don't want a product full of addresses. So what we think is going to happen is there's going to be some grandfather rights. So if you do that now, the chances are you might only have to have one address on that, certainly for the time being. If you start doing that next year, you're probably going to need two addresses on it, one for the UK and one for the EU. So my advice right here, right now, is get this done sooner rather than later. All right, that's absolutely key. But outside of that, what do you really need? Now, different regulations, as I said, do require different things. And the key things that they need, the first thing is an address. So you need an address. Now, it's all very well just putting an address on it, but somebody at that address has to be responsible for your products. Now, that's okay just putting some random address on it. So you buy a dress, online, you could do that, but there's no one there responsible for that product. You could use your VAT agent's address, but there's no one there that's going to be responsible for your product. And what I mean by responsible, depending on the regulations, is different things. So somebody could turn up at our door and say, hi, you're saying you're the responsible person for this product. We will then be able to produce product information files. We'll be able to produce a certificate of conformity. We'll be able to find test certificates, all those sort of things, and a physical item of the product. Because if you're using an address on a product, then really what we need to find out is to make sure that product is compliant as well. You can't just put your address on all these products and they're not compliant. They have to be compliant. So there's a few things to consider. Now, yes, the regulations change in 2021 for all CE mark products, but if you sell cosmetics, supplements, medicinal products, some electronics already, then you need to have an address on that product already. Now, for a lot of our clients, it takes 3 months to order a product. It takes at least a month to redesign products labels. So there are a lot of things to consider. Yes, we can put labels on retrospectively. So you could pull your goods out of Amazon. We can put labels on them. We can do that. That's absolutely fine. But you probably want to start thinking about doing that now for your products so you don't have that additional expense further down the line. So what do you need to consider? The first thing is an address. You need to find somewhere that has an address that can be a responsible person and store your products. Okay. Now, here at Global E-Commerce Experts, we can do that. We have an address that you can use both for the EU and the UK. We have facilities in both the EU and the UK. Now, what that means is that you, based on the certificates that you send and the information you send and the product information files you give us, what we can do is we can make sure that your product fulfills the requirements of the regulations that you set out. Now, the great news with that is what it means is we can be your responsible person. So you get your address with us, you can use our address, you can use us as your responsible person. And the great thing with that is because we have the warehouse facility here, we can store the product. So that if trading standards rocked up, and I look this way, you can't see the window, but there is a window there, you'll have to take my word for it. But what happens is they knock up on the door, the trading standards knock on the door and say, hey, Mr. Global E-Commerce Experts, you're saying you're responsible for this product. Can you give me some more information? We go, yes, Mr. Trading Standards. The person who sells this is Mr. Seller. Mr. Seller is based in the United States. Here's all of their information. Here's the product information file. All right. And that's what we need to do. Now, this is very different to putting your address on Amazon and being a return address or a warehouse address. It is solely a responsible person. Yes, we can do the others, of course we can, but we're really talking about making sure your products are compliant with the regulations, and you need an EU-based address on your products. Now, when we split from Brexit, the EU, you're going to need the UK and EU, but if you get the EU done today, a UK one, you know, a lot of our clients are all registered for that in the UK and not other parts of Europe, then what we would suggest is get that done today. Do not wait. You need to make sure you're conforming with the regulations. The sooner you do that, the less chances you are of having issues further down the line. We've got clients being turned away from Germany and the UK particularly because they don't have an address on their products. So if you don't have an address on your product, you need to think to yourself, why do I not have an address on my product? And make sure that's right. If you are in any doubt, please get in contact with us. Our team are experts here who can guide you through that and make sure and say, yes, you need an address, or no, you don't need an address. Or you do need an address, but it needs to come into place here. So you need to make sure of that. Hopefully that's been really useful today. So product safety and compliance of your products. For a lot of products, you need an address. You need an address, a responsible person, and your product stores where that responsible person is, along with all the product files. I hope that's been useful. Thank you very much for giving up your valuable time. I know it's precious. This has been useful for us to make sure we're getting the message to you guys, and we look forward to welcoming you on the Content Corner on Thursday. Thursdays is around e-commerce. It's focused around marketplaces and giving you information. Tuesdays is around compliance. If you've liked this has been useful, please make sure you like, share, comment, whatever makes you happy. Even negative comments could come directly to us. Don't put them on the post if that's okay. And we'll make sure we incorporate those for the future. But I wish you well. Stay safe. This has been Andy Hooper at Global E-Commerce Experts, and I look forward to speaking with you all soon.